talk about a few key words that he spoke about. Don't be surprised if somebody decides to flip the script and take a pass at crying uncle. That's a very unique American phrase. Crying uncle is like, okay, I give up. And the other key word that video speaks about is passion. If you don't have these two things, the decision to persist against all odds, you can never flip the script. But just wanting to flip the script is never going to happen unless you have passion, and you can't have passion if you don't have the first ingredient, that is having a vision, a goal, an idea. Now, in each slide, I've added 10 characteristics that Muhammad Ali defined as essential for winning. And as we talk about today, I'm going to talk about each of these uh, points. Think differently, have confidence, defy the rules, stick to your game plan, have a bigger vision, be prepared to handle anything, show good sportsmanship, be determined, outsmart your competition, be charismatic. These 10 characteristics are not Muhammad Ali's talked about this in this order. This particular talk is not going to address each one of this in the same order that Muhammad Ali talks about, but we will address all 10. So whenever I talk about something that addresses something that Muhammad Ali said, I will point it out. You cannot go from point A to point B without an idea of where you're going. And that is precisely having a vision. And having a vision is more than just having a wish. Having a vision is more than having a dream. A wish and a dream is just an unformed, very nebulous idea. Oh, that would be nice to have. What makes the difference between a vision and a dream is it the dream is just remains in the realm of that is nice to have. There is no desire beyond that. It is you just sit there like a movie script. That dream goes by and you enjoy the movie, and then you go home. You're not changed in any way. Your life doesn't change. You have paid the ticket, you have watched the dream, you're gone home, and you go back to your same life. The difference between a person who has a vision, a goal, is he doesn't stay at the level of just a dream. He gets possessed by the dream. That dream calls out to something in him. So when you have an idea that I would be nice to have, it doesn't just remain as an abstract idea separated from you. You become the idea yourself. You become that goal yourself. And then that goal becomes in you. And from that point onwards, you start acting. You start performing. And you start choosing actions that are consistent with that particular vision. If you cannot have this first step, you cannot do anything, whether in sports. So let us say you have an archery, a person who wants to become a top marksman or a top archer. Just having the dream of an archer, having the dream of being a marksman has no meaning until that dream possesses you and becomes who you are. And once that dream becomes who you are, then there is no separation between the goal and your life. And at that moment, everything in your life you'll start working towards that goal. Until that union of the dream and you becomes real, it's just a dream and you are you. These two have to first unite. This is the first step to winning. Just everyone has dreams. There is not a single person in this audience, in me, all around you, in the whole world, who do not have a dream. Having a dream that means nothing. Only a few get united with their dream. And when you get united, then the dream drives your life. You know, before Mahatma Gandhi, a lot of people had dreams of free India. But there was a difference for someone like Mahatma Gandhi. There was a difference for someone like Vallabhbhai Patel. There was a difference for someone like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. So for them, the dream was not a dream there. It became who they were. Same in sports. You think Gavaskar just sat there dreaming about being the biggest, the most famous cricketer? It just doesn't happen from a dream. It has to first possess you. The dream has to possess you. It's a peculiar kind of madness. Once you have a dream and once you get possessed by the dream, the first thing that's going to happen is people are going to say, you are pagal ho, you're crazy. If you have a dream of being a great sportsman, then people in your family will say, hey, jaake naukri karo. Go take a job, be a stable job, government employee, become a bank employee. And nothing wrong with that. But that's not your dream. That's not what has possessed you. See, people think that I am encouraging people to leave. I am all for success. I am all for developing a lot of becoming very wealthy. Wealth is important because wealth allows you to have opportunities. But wealth is important only if it is consistent with your dream. See, I'm a physician. I'm successful in my work. I am also doing sports. I have a dream. I have more than one dreams, and I keep all my dreams aligned into one person. And all these dreams are aligned in me, and they don't conflict, and therefore I can have all these things. If you want to have all those things, then have all those dreams aligned. But right now, I'm going to focus on sports. If that is your dream, you have to unite with it. And the next step is you have to remain united. You cannot let somebody come and separate you. And it is not easy. It is painful. There will be people around you who you thought are important in your life, and they will not share what is possessing you. So when Muhammad Ali says, think differently, that is the stage of having a dream, because nobody else has it. Only you have it. Only Sunil Gavaskar had it. Only Muhammad Ali had it. Only Usain Bolt had it. Only Arnold Schwarzenegger had it. Nobody else had that dream, whatever they had. Usain Bolt, the fastest man. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Universe. Sunil Gavaskar, famous cricketer. So each one, only they had it, not the rest of the people in the mohalla, in their town. So each one of them were thinking differently. They had a dream and they united with it. And once they united with it, they said they did not listen to all the other people who said it can't be done. It's impossible. It is foolish. It is dangerous. You will be good for nothing. You won't achieve anything. Nobody will give you a job. Bhukke maroge. Bhikhari ho jaoge. As long as if you are focusing on your goal, you have to have these three things. Have confidence, defy the rules, stick to your game plan, and have a bigger vision. When you have vision, your dream, it is automatically bigger than everyone else. That is the first thing. It calls you. It calls you and makes you look for something that is more than what you are today, and you unite with it. Once you unite with it, immediately all the forces around you will rise up in opposition. That's the first thing that will happen. And that is the first win that you have to have. Long before you get on the podium with your trophy, the first win that you need to have is this forces of opposition that you need to. If you lose here, you never go beyond step 2. You become disempowered. And life has only one goal. All of life, all actions in life have to be towards empowerment. You empower yourself. You empower the people around you. When you are doing sports, you empower yourself. You empower your game. You empower your team. You even empower your coach. Because if you are a lousy athlete, you think the coach is going to get all energized. He's going to come every day and say, oh my God, this fellow doesn't listen to anything I do. Whatever I say, he doesn't do. The coach is, you're going to suck out all the energy from the coach. You know, there's a very funny Sanskrit verse. It describes 3 kinds of students. The first student is like gunpowder. The teacher, the guru, gives just one indication, one little statement, and the student is so ready that he immediately catches fire and explodes into flame. That is the best student you can get, and that is the first kind of student. The second kind of student is like a lump of coal. The guru has to do some work. He has to light the fire, he has to huff and puff and blow and work at it. But eventually the second student will also catch fire and he'll burn. And once he burns, he'll burn steady and strong. The third student is like a banana leaf. He will not catch fire and he will take the fire, he will destroy the guru's fire also. Don't be the third student. Don't listen to the people around you. Don't get disempowered before you start. So you have a dream, it got united with you, you have a vision now, you're possessed by the vision, you have already isolated yourself from all the distractions, from all the people who are giving you negative input. You have now associated yourself with the people who are aligned with your goal. You are in a group that is working towards your goal. All the environment is working towards your goal. Now the next step is you have to work. And you have to work not in hours and days and months. You have to work the minute. Winning is determined minutes by 60 seconds. Every 60 seconds well. You know what's the difference between an arrow that hits the target and an arrow that is shot and misses the target? It is the number of minutes that the archer spent shooting. Everyone talks about practice makes perfect. Practice does not make perfect. Practice only makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. If you practice erroneously, you will perfect mistakes. You will get into the habit of doing the wrong thing very well. That is why you will find athletes who are spending hours and hours and working and they get nowhere because they are practicing imperfections. So before you have a vision, before you can actually do anything, you have the vision, you have started focusing on just the work, avoiding the distractions. Now you have to work the minute. And in that, I work in very small steps. When I train in dog training, I train one small behavior. If I'm training the sit, I don't start with the sit. First I train attention. And then from the attention, I train position. Then I train lowering the body to the ground. And only after these things are done, I start demanding speed. 2 weeks ago, I got my first archery set. You know, I set it up, and you know what's the first target lesson I did? I stood 6 inches away from the target, took my bow, pulled the arrow back, and shot the arrow into the center of the target. I am not concerned about shooting the target from 60 feet. If my arrow cannot go into the target from 6 inches, how can I do it from 60 feet? Once I have perfected my technique in drawing the arrow back, once I have perfected the strength in my arm, I will move back another 6 inches. And then I will shoot the arrow from 1 foot. And from 1 foot, I will go another 6 inches back. And I'll keep going back 6 inches at a time until one day I will be 60 feet away and my arrow will still fly just as if it was 6 inches away. That is working the minute. The essence of all work that you do. You know, Muhammad Ali was asked by somebody, he was doing 2,000 sit-ups in practice, all right? Somebody asked him, how do you start? When do you start counting? How many sit-ups do you count? And he said, I don't start counting until I start hurting. Imagine, the guy is doing sit-ups. 1, 2, 3. He's not counting. He starts counting when he starts hurting. And then he starts doing 1, 2, 3 until he reaches 2,000. That is embracing the struggle. Winners do not enjoy the winning. They enjoy the fight. Everybody wants to be a lion. Have you ever seen a lion? In the wild, not in the cage, in the circus or in the zoo. The lion doesn't like the win. He likes the fight. He enjoys the chase. He enjoys the leap onto the back of the buffalo. He enjoys the kicking that the buffalo gives him. And he enjoys the ability to get back at it. He enjoys the threat of the horn of the buffalo. He enjoys the struggle until finally he gets the grip on the throat of the buffalo. And then he holds the buffalo, and the buffalo is thrashing. The buffalo weighs 1 ton. The lion weighs 800 pounds. 2,000 pounds against 800 pounds. And the lion pulls the 2,000 pounds down and then keeps the grip on the throat, crushing the trachea until finally the breathing stops. And at that point, the lion actually feels tired and sad because the struggle is over. Be a lion, then you will win. I'm going to show another video. Usain Bolt compiled this video for himself. Usain Bolt, the fastest man, did not compile a video about his wins. This video is all of his losses. And each video he studied it again and again. How many of you knew that 10 people beat Usain Bolt? And you know, how many of you even remember the names, all those names of people who beat Usain Bolt? No one knows them, but they all beat him. And you know the reason why no one knows them? Because those people were mounting their successes. And Usain Bolt took those videos and analyzed them. How was his start? Why can he get off the starting block faster? What's his pickup? At what point does he straighten out from the takeoff point to the running stride? When does he catch speed? What's the final finish? Do you slow down as you approach the finish line? At what point do you dip forward to hit the tape? You know, there's one of those videos, Usain Bolt dips a little earlier. The other person dips right at the right time. And the reason why everyone knows Usain Bolt is not because he's successful. It is because he actually analyzes his failures. He puts all his failures, he mounts them on his wall. He hides all his trophies in the closet. You can never succeed, you can never win if you just enjoy your winning. You have to enjoy failing more than your winning, because your failures are telling you how to win. If you are an archer, you cannot focus on the arrows that hit the target. You have to focus on the arrows that missed. If you're a cricketer, you are not focusing on the balls that you hit over the boundary line and the six. You are focusing on the ball you missed, the one that got by your ball and hit the wicket, or the one that hit your bat edge and went into the catch, or the run that you mistimed. That's what you're going to be analyzing. That's what you're going to be. That is your work. That is embracing the struggle. That is your everyday success. Unless your failures become the recipe for your success, the means of your success, you cannot ever win. In business, in sports, in work, in your family, in your love life, you cannot win without becoming obsessed with your failures. And that's what Ali says. Be determined. Stick to your game plan. Okay, today you had a competition, somebody else won over you. Suddenly you say, oh, you know what? I'm analyzing my failure. That person's game plan is what I'm going to use. No, stick to your game plan. Use his element and put it into your game plan. Don't change your strategy overnight just because somebody beat you. That is the winning mind. This is my favorite. Everyone wants to have a plan B. Plan A is I become the champion. But if I don't become the champion, this is my backup strategy. And the first rule of winning is there is no plan B. Plan B is for all the people behind you on the podium. You know, my coach in dog training, I have a coach. He's one of the finest coaches in the world, multiple times on the world championship circuit, Wallace Spain. And you know what he says? He says, there is always only one winner. The person who gets the silver medal is the first loser. First loser. He never says that you are number two. Number two is being the first loser. Then the second loser is number three, fourth loser, fifth loser. All the rest of the losers are there behind number one. There's only number one is number one. After that, it's all series of losers. People who had plan Bs. And therefore, when you have a plan B, you have an escape. You have already decided that plan A will not work. I used to have a plan B until I realized that plan B was actually preventing my plan A from working. And then I decided to throw away plan B. Alexander, the great emperor, the great conqueror, Alexander the Conqueror. From Greece, he moved up through Persia, Iran, Afghanistan, the Hindu Kush Valley, conquering as he went all the way to northern India until he met Porus and won that battle also. And you know what he did? Every time he crossed a river, he would burn the bridge after crossing. There was no going back for him. He didn't want his soldiers, he didn't want his army to have a plan B, to be able to get back on the river, get back to the other side. So every time he would come to a river, if there was no bridge, he had his engineers build the bridge. He will cross his entire army. And when Alexander moved, his army they had beekeepers, they had livestock, they had herds of cattle. They would carry carts of grain and food because the army had to be fed. And all of that will cross over the bridge, and then he will tell his engineers to burn the bridge. This would happen. Again, no plan B. If you want to have a plan B, then make plan B part of plan A. If you feel that there is some part of plan A that won't work in your training program, then make that thing that doesn't work, make a training plan for that and train that and make that what will not work, work. Be prepared. This is what Muhammad Ali says. Be prepared to handle anything. There is no going back. I'm going to show you a small video, and it's about 8 minutes, but I'm not going to go 8 minutes. I'm going to show the first 1 minute. And in that, it's about about one of the championships I competed in. And right at the beginning, right at the very start, something happens that throws my dog off. So the exercise is I have to direct my dog to search 6 hiding spots. In the last hiding spot is the bad guy that the dog has to guard and bark and guard. But before he gets to the last hiding spot, the dog has to go to blind number 1, 2, 3, and he has to do it in sequence on my direction. So he does blind 1 and then he does blind 2. And then, because on the day of the trial, the ground was soaking rain and the ground was muddy and slippery, I was walking a little slower because I was afraid I would slip. And as a result, my position was off. And when the dog came and I directed him to blind 3, my hand was pointing to blind number 5. He completely missed blind 3 and blind 4, went to blind 5, and I had to, on the spot, correct. There was no plan B. Right then and there, I had to fix it. Be prepared for anything. Just watch this. It's so good. Blind 1. Blind 2. Now he goes. He misses blind 3. He misses. He goes all the way to blind 4, 5, sorry. And now I call him back, all the way back to me. And I send him to blind 4. It doesn't matter if he missed blind 3. Then I send him back all the way to blind 5. And then I send him to blind 6. So I wanted to show you what happens when some surprises will happen. You will be practicing in one set of situations, and on the championship day, the situation is completely different. If you're an archer, you are shooting arrows in a controlled environment. There is no wind. On championship day, there is 30 mile per hour wind. You have to compensate. And on the morning of the championship, you have a slight ache in your thigh and you have to work. There is no plan B. You can't suddenly say, oh, no, it's okay. I'm not going to give my best. It is exactly when things don't work according to plan that you have to handle it and give more than your best, more than 100%. And if you never give more than 100% in training, you can never bring more than 100% in actual competition. So training is always 120, 130, 140% effort, always, because that will give you reserve. There is another thing that Muhammad Ali always said is outsmart my competition. Outsmart your competition. You know, when in high school, I used to be a middle distance runner, 800 meters, 1500 meters was my event. I was architecturally a more slimmer guy. My friend Mohan was more muscular and stocky, and his specialty was 100 and 400. The 400 and 100 meters is you need to have a very quick takeoff and a very fast acceleration. Mohan had it. I was not built for that. I would compete on the 400, but the 100 was never my event. But the 800 and 1500 was where I would really excel at. And I developed a strategy to psychologically dominate my competition. And that was during practice, I would run, and everyone would run in their normal stride. I practiced running in normal stride, and then I practiced lowering my pelvis to the ground and stretching my legs out into a 10% increase in my stride. If you try to do it without practice, what happens is you can increase your stride length only 10% more without losing the efficiency of the running. But what happened in that is the psychological impact was devastating. I would run and I could run my normal stride length, and then suddenly I would drop my body and stretch out. I am actually running at the same pace. My speed is not more, but the visual impact to my competition was, man, this guy is accelerating. And I would keep doing this. In a 1500-meter run, it is a 400-meter circuit. So it used to be 3 3/4 of a run, 3 3/4 laps. So every lap, at the lap mark, I would drop my pelvis, I would drop my hip, stretch out for 25, 50 yards, and then again resume. Each time I would do that, I would increase the space between. I would force those other people to walk, run, catch up, and expend energy. And then we would all again be a group. And then again, I would do that. 3 times I would do that. And then final lap, I would do it. And that time I would turn on the speed. This is outsmarting competition. And they would completely be exhausted by the time I would finally do that, whereas I would have spent no energy all around. This is something that each one has to do. Each sportsman has to do it in their discipline, in their way. You have to figure out how to psychologically dominate your competition. Winning is done before you come on the field. You don't win on the field. You just show everyone else that you are the winner. Winning is actually done off the field, in the privacy of your training ground. Winning is done before you come on the field. When you come on the field, you are just standing there and letting everyone else acknowledge you that you are the winner. You cannot win alone. You will fail alone. You have to remember this all the time. When you succeed, your success is built upon the collective work of a whole team. And if you try to succeed and not get every one of the people who worked with you on the podium with you, you have failed even before you start. This is the fundamental principle of all sports. Succeed together, fail alone. This I'm saying not just as a principle. Failure, the work that you do when you lose, is always done in solitary confinement, in solitude. You sit there and you analyze. So you always fail. When you fail, you will do that work of analysis of failure, of understanding why it happened and how it happened and the mechanics of it, then integrating a training plan that assesses it and remedies it. And that is solitary work. But when you are actually competing, you are competing together with your teammates. I have a training partner, we compete together. He is on championship day, he is my competitor, but every other time we help each other all the time. I tell him, hey, this can be better for you. And he tells me, hey, this can be better for me. And we go on the field together as competitors. And that's what he says, Muhammad Ali. Good sportsmanship is about that. Sportsmanship is the recognition that this is a game of life, and life is not lived alone. It is lived together. So the person who gets on the stadium is there only for that moment. Tomorrow it will be somebody else. And you will be on position number 2. Today 1, tomorrow 2, again 1 later, and again 2 later. This keeps going on like a game. But what remains is the togetherness, is the partnership, and that is what makes success and winning so valuable. What's the use of enjoying it alone? There's no fun there. The lion doesn't enjoy eating his meal alone. He gets his whole pride. Everyone has only one gift, but they all have many talents. And I'll explain this a little bit better. A talent is a skill, something that you were not born with, something that you learn. A gift is something that you are already born with. You don't need to learn that. The purpose of all your training is to train your talent. But the purpose of training the talent is to serve the gift. And I will explain that a little bit further. The gift that each person has is the message that they can give to the rest of the world. Muhammad Ali's gift was his ability to show the world that a black man can win, to uplift all other black people, to fight against the systemic prejudice that all he can do is just box. And he spent his life demonstrating that no, there is an equality that goes beyond, that does not recognize color. And I am equal to you. In fact, I am better than you. And he spent his life, and that was his message. That was his gift to the world. His talent was his enormous skill as a boxer, his athleticism, his ability to dance, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, all of that. He will say, oh, I ain't going to get messed up. Look at this pretty face. Nobody's going to touch me. And he did that. He showed it. Every athlete has a gift, a central message about what their greatness is all about. They use their talent to showcase this gift. Find your gift. That gift has nothing to do with the sport, but that gift is the reason why you work so hard. I have a gift. My gift is my ability to inspire and people and make them not feel demoralized or trapped in fear. And I use all my talents. to serve that one gift, whether I'm as a doctor, whether as an entrepreneur, or as a leader, or as a sportsman. All my talents serve only that one gift. As long as I use my talents to serve my gift, I always win. Whenever I confuse my talent as the gift, I lose. Find your gift and use your talent, train your talent, train your skills, because talents can be taken away. One day, all the skills you train yourself will lose. You will never lose your gift. Until your last dying breath, your gift is who you are. Your talents are skills that you acquire. You will lose them over time. And that brings me to the last of the 9 principles. Manifest yourself. Muhammad Ali talks about being charismatic. When you manifest yourself, that is the entire purpose of life. Either in all that you do, make your inner being out there on the sports field, on the business field, in the family. Your inner self, which is your gift, gets manifested through the talents you train, through the actions you do, through the challenges you face in life, in sports, at all times. And out of that, you become an example. And the example doesn't have to be the whole world. It can just be to just a village. You can be an example to just one family. You can be an example to just one other person. But to that person, you become God himself, because you have manifested the essence of your being. With that, I bring you to the last 2-minute video.
Whether or not you win this thing, you've got to decide how you're going to walk out of here when it's all said and done. Because the game is going to go on. And there's only one rule you're going to need to know about. There are no second chances. There is only this moment and the next moment. Every one of those moments is a test that you get to take one time, and only one time. So if you see an opening, tear into it. If you get a shot at victory, make damn sure you take it. Seize that moment. That moment is a crossroads where everything you want will collide with everything standing in your way. You've got momentum at your back. Fear and doubt are thundering like a freight train straight at you. And all you got, the only difference between making history and being history, the only thing you can count on in any given moment is you. It's you versus them. You versus no. You versus can't. You versus next year, last year, statistics, excuses. It's you versus history. You versus the odds. It's you versus second place. Clock is ticking. Let's see what you've got.
That concludes the talk. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, sir. So if there are any questions, you can unmute yourself.
Thanks, Ravi. Lovely talk.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Ravi, just one question to mind from what you said. And this is about, everybody who's not a winner is a loser.
I'll tell you.
I kind of think this.
No, I know. I'll tell you why there's a difference in the way and when you say it. Every comment has a value on timing. When you are on the field training, The purpose of the coach is to crack the whip and sting you with the stimulus
Yeah.
of the threat of humiliation.
Yeah.
And in that context, he says, don't be the first loser. But when I do lose, he sits down with me and supports. So this
Yeah.
comment is meant to give you the motivational sting of humiliation, but not to disempower you. The same words, when used out of context in and with in a different timing, will take away motivation. But when given in the right place at the right time, the same thing motivates further. So you are using the words that I said as a general abstraction. Absolutely no. I don't go around talking everyone as every loser is a loser. No.
Yeah.
But when I am faced with my own students and I'm facing them and I'm teaching them, I'm going to kick their ass. At that time, I'm going to say, to hell with you,
Hello.
man. I don't want to,
Hello.
you don't have a plan B or second place.
Hello.
Yes, Ananta. Ananta, just 1 second.
True. True.
So that is the context in where, so the people who are actually competing at the top level, they absolutely subscribe to this all the time. There is no second place. Because they don't want to have even the idea that they are going to be in second place. They use second place as an afterthought. You know, when I tell my patients, I have patients in the clinic, and I tell them, hey, you had to lose weight, I had to do this, I had to do that. And they'll say, yes, doc, I'll try. And you know what I do? I tell them, I do this. Here, I take an object like a pencil or a pen, and I'll say, okay, here, try to pick this up. So the guy will go and try, pick. I said, no, I did not tell you to pick it up. I told you to try. So keep trying. And he said, what do you mean keep trying? I said, exactly. You just said I will try to do it. So keep trying. Don't do it. Keep trying. Then he said, I can't do it if I keep trying. Now I said, you get it? Try is what you say after you don't do. In life, you either do or you don't do. There is no try. Try is a past tense word. It is an interpretation. Never have something called try in your vocabulary. Try is what you say after the fact. It's an interpretation of yesterday's work. I don't have anything called try. I start this because it is in this moment I only do. And when I don't do, I say I did not do it. I don't say I tried. Because when you say I try, you don't become the architect of your failure. And until you become an architect of your failure just as much as an architect of your success, you will never succeed. You have to own saying that, hey, I did not do it. That's all. I can't blame anything other than me. Why I did not, when I shot the arrow, I cannot say that that breeze came and pushed my arrow away. It was my job to account for that breeze. It was my job to hit the target. Nothing else could stand my way. And if I did not do it, I did not do it. Have the courage to say I did not do it. And that doesn't mean you can't do it tomorrow again. But you will never do it if you say I tried. Because you are not willing to admit that your effort was enough. You are saying, my effort was enough. Something else made it not happen. The winners never do that.